Hello! Okay, so the purpose of this video is to help you identify lines of symmetry and also end behavior of certain functions. Okay, so if you guys remember, hopefully from geometry or previous class, symmetry, basically if you flip it around a certain axis of some sort, you're going to get the same image on the other side. Okay, so identifying any lines of symmetry. Okay, so what I'm going to first do is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of draw a dashed line so you can kind of see here. Okay, so what we need to know is, well, the y value of this dashed line. Okay, the y value of this dashed line is going to be the line y equals 2. Okay, what I see here, we can identify another line of symmetry here. So as you can see here, we can identify another line of symmetry. The line of symmetry here, as you can see, we're looking at the x value where this crosses. So our x value is at 3. Okay, coming down here, this looks like an axis of symmetry that I see here if we were to flip it. So this one looks like the x, oh, not x value, I'm sorry, y value. It looks like the y value of, it looks like negative 3. Negative 3. Okay, and then coming here, as you can see, so if I were to just draw this dashed line, okay, this dashed line here, so it looks like this is going to be an x value at negative 2, if that makes sense. Okay, so that is how you would identify your lines of symmetry, if that makes sense. Okay, let's look at the other example, end behavior. Okay, end behavior, this one's a fun one. Okay, I can see some of you having the most trouble with this one, honestly. Okay, so I'll try to generalize. Hopefully you guys can kind of see a pattern. Okay, so this says as x approaches, if you see the arrow there, arrow means approaches. Okay, oh, I cannot even spell approaches. Okay, so as x approaches a large positive number, so you see here, as x approaches a large positive number, if you look at the y values here, the y values, as x gets really large, then this is going to come like way down here, right? Let's say we're considering a point way over here. This means the y values are becoming more negative. So as x is a really large number, this implies here that y is going to approach negative infinity. Okay? If we go the other way, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Okay? I can see some of you like, well, if this graph crossed the line y equals 6, it doesn't look like the y values are restricted in that direction. But as you can see here, this says, let me draw that line a little bit better. This says as x approaches negative infinity, this means the graph is going this way, right? So as you can see, it just continues this way. It doesn't go past that line y equals 6, okay? That's where it's restricted from, okay? So as x values go towards become more negative, the y values are going to approach 6, okay? So that is how you would identify that. Okay, this one, this is kind of similar to what I've shown you in class previously, right? So as you can see here for this, so as x approaches a large positive number, well, what's going to happen to the y's? Well, think about it. Look at the direction of the arrow. As you can see, we're going to have a point way up here. We're not going to be down here. We're going to be way up here. So just think about it like, well, either y value is going to be positive or the y value is going to be negative. So as you can see, y values are clearly positive. As you can see here, y is going to go up to positive infinity. So that is how you would identify that. So that means y is going to approach positive infinity. Okay, next one, as x approaches negative infinity. So going back this way, let's say x approaches a negative number. So as you can see here, the y values, it's going to be like here, here. It's going to be way down here, right? This means the y values are going to approach a negative number. So that means it's going off to negative infinity. So that's how you would represent that. Okay, this one, upside down parabola. Okay, so this one says as x approaches a large positive number as we go this way towards positive infinity, well, let's consider the y values. Well, the y values, do they go up this way or do they come down? Okay, clearly with the direction of the arrow here, the y values are getting more negative. Okay, so because they are becoming more negative here, this means the y values are going to approach negative infinity. Okay, so that's going to be this right here. Similarly, if we go this way, as x approaches negative infinity, what's happening with the y values? Same thing. As you can see here, the y values, as you can see, it's just going to become more and more negative. As you can see, this would mean y approaches negative infinity. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that there, negative infinity. Okay, this one, as x approaches a large positive number, I can see some of you having trouble with this as well. Okay, so as you can see here, so the x values, so as they get really large, it doesn't cross this line. If it crossed this line at y equals -4, I can see that, okay, maybe it will go off to negative infinity. At this here, so as you can see, as x approaches a large positive number, in other words, if it gets really big, the y values here are going to continue to be restricted by that invisible line. That's the National Guard trying to prevent all the protesters from getting into Capitol Hill. Okay, so this is basically y is approaching -4. Okay, so that is how you would do that. I'm just going to go ahead and write that here. So -4. Okay, and if we go the other way, okay, so if we go this way, so as x approaches negative infinity, as the x values get more negative, well, what can you tell me about the y values? Okay, so the y values based on this arrow here, well, are we going to be way up here? Are we going to be way down here? Okay, so what we have, as you can see here, the y values are becoming more positive. We go this way, we're going up to positive infinity. That would represent our y's. So there's no restriction, so y approaches positive infinity. Okay, that is generally how end behavior works. It's a little bit different than what I've shown you. What remember before, I was trying to get you used to the idea of positive infinity. But now we have situations where we're going the other way. So just keep that in mind. Okay, that is it for this video. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions on anything. Okay, bye.